Well, good afternoon. Muy buenas tardes. It's great to be here. I'm going to have to change my presentation a little bit because I was told I only had 8 minutes instead of the 30 minutes I was counting on. So y'all can be relieved. So we're going to have to keep this PowerPoint. In fact, I might just do away with 80% of it or so.
Okay, Chip.
So it's great to be here because as mentioned earlier, we're looking at South Texas College is honored to be delivering in time and relevant program. As you're going to continue hearing that from me and others, because that is what industry here is looking for, especially in South Texas. As y'all recall, right now, what happened last year during the national elections, never in the economic history of the U.S. has the border been such a priority. As you recall, even last year, back in November, the elections, both candidates, the number one priority was the border and immigration and the economy. But again, the U.S.-Mexico border was the number one priority by both parties and candidates. And clearly, we're right here, right in the middle of all this activity. That is why it's so exciting that where we're going. Anyway, at South Texas College, I'm going to, of course, here we're going to show you very quickly how we are addressing the needs and the expectations on this global economy, but especially what's taking place now, especially with the tariff, the nearshoring, advanced manufacturing, and of course the bottom line, what all industry is constantly looking for is the availability of skilled workforce. That is simply where it's at. That is what companies are looking for to expand. And clearly here along the border, we are so glad that we are able to address that. I mentioned right here going into my presentation because I knew that my colleague from UTRGV is going to have incredible information and data about the growth of the university. Likewise, at STC, I'm going to make the point here of how we are so dependent, the university with the college. We have synergy in providing higher education and working together. Most people don't realize the size of South Texas College. Approximately, according to our data, 75% of the students at the university either attended or have or are taking classes at the local college system. And at South Texas College, people don't realize how large we are. Already telling me I'm running out of batteries? Wow. Okay. All right. Okay, well, good. Then I'll go in quick. And as you can see, 66% of our students, and this is all verified, they go on to the UTRGV. This is a great accomplishment. We want to make sure that we have a highly educated population here. And secondly, now you can see these are numbers, the power of numbers. This is the size of South Texas College. We have 6 campuses throughout Hidalgo and Starr County. And definitely the largest number when you put together credit and non-credit, we have over 43,000 students. That's an amazing number, unheard of. And again, I guess the battery said, no mas, I don't use it. So I'm glad that really, y'all wanted me to cut it short? Okay. Thanks.
And then I got some red in the bench, but so think real soon. That's oxygen that way. It's working that and from the power is.
All right, well then I'm going to improvise, which I'm good at anyway, because I know we have a tight schedule, right, Brian? So we're not going to wait. I see a plug here, so I'm plugged. So clearly, I guess they did not have the laptop plugged in. That's what happened. So the battery ran out. And so, sorry about this, and hopefully they'll have it for my colleague with us. To the presentation. I know you don't need a PowerPoint either, right? So don't need no stinking PowerPoint. Good. Awesome. Right. So all of you will probably be relieved. Well, I was able to get up some very powerful numbers up there to show you the size of the college. I had some other data really demonstrating some of the programs, and I'm glad we're going to talk about that today later on. Specifically, you want to hear about what programs are we providing that are meeting the needs of the community. At South Texas College, we are focusing on 2 areas. When I started here almost 4 years ago, and that is in health, all the health programs, which we have 10 of them, And those are critical from the nursing, the Nordic, of course, you know about the shortage. We are addressing that. We're one of the largest providers of nurses, not only in the Valley, but in the entire state of Texas. And that's what when you combine LVN, ADN, and RNs, we provide over 500. That's how many we generate a year in Texas. That is the largest. And also, in other health work, we have all the other 10 programs I'm not going to try to go into them, but from physical therapy, respiratory care, sonography, ultrasound, EMT, I can go on and on. Those are high demand, high paying fields. We're very excited to be also expanding there. In fact, next year, we're going to be expanding in 2 additional health programs. And that is going to be dental hygiene. It's going to be huge. We're the only in Texas in the Hidalgo area providing a dental hygiene program, which will open up late next year. And also a surgical assistant, surgical technologist. These are 2-year programs, all of these, which are in high demand. But it's very important to understand that 2-year programs now are what many students are looking for. And I'll go into that in a second. On the other extreme is technology. And I know a lot of you here in the construction business, I came in early today, that was the first question. What technical programs are offered when it comes? Well, let me tell you, our construction management, our project management program, those are growing leaps and bounds. We are full, and we're really going to expand that. And in fact, many adults are coming into this program now. And these are intense 1 to 2 year programs, wanting to change a career. From CAD/CAM to construction management, I can go on and on to electrical. And that's great because now we're seeing a lot of 30 to 40 to 50-year-olds wanting to have a change, wanting to upskill or just reskill completely and go into a different direction. That's what we're so exciting about that. And also at our technology campus, we are expanding drastically when it comes to HVAC. I don't need to talk about that. I think everybody knows how the big demand in HVAC, especially in the summer now. A lot of you, I can see you're shaking your head, yes, how we need our AC systems constantly upgraded or repaired. Also automotive, also diesel, welding. I can go on and on, all the technical programs, and they're doing very well. We're expanding from the McAllen campus to the Star in Rio Grande City campus. We're about to have a big ribbon cutting next week. Then, of course, to our big stars in the Mid-Valley. Just an incredible growth that we're seeing over there. Just yesterday, we had a very small symbolic announcement with heavy equipment certification. And that's where it's going. People say, why certificates? Well, many people don't necessarily need or want a traditional university degree. They want something quick, immediate. Yeah, they want to get into it immediately with something that could take them just 6 months to a year so they can have that certification. So we're providing that when it comes to heavy equipment. But also in the Mid-Valley, we're also doing as well automotive, HVAC, and welding, which is probably just scratching the surface of the need that's going to be taken by industry and construction. And I know most of you here are in that area, in that industry. So we are always trying to be at the forefront, and we will, in providing these programs. Okay, now, I don't know if we got back power yet or not, but did I save you all from a horrible PowerPoint? I think I did. Good. All right. Well, enough of that. Anyway, I know that I'm already met my 8 minutes.
That's my bad.
Yep. Otherwise. All right.
I never had this habit.
You move back. I saw that.
I should have noticed the dangling cord there. I think it needs to sit for a minute.
All right, settle.
Okay, you're doing good.
Like Betty was going to say, we don't need no sticking PowerPoint. So we're going to go. So just in summary, I know that I wanted to also mention how the growth in our programs and our graduates. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a full weekend with graduates. We graduated over 3,800 students with degrees and certifications. And that was a phenomenal accomplishment. Also, I wanted to mention, just in the history of South Texas College, we are the youngest college system in the state of Texas. We've 30 years, but in those 30 years, we have graduated close to 69,000 students with degrees. So as I mentioned, what we do best, the colleges, is that we are able to pivot very quickly and provide certificates, credentials of value. And speaking, I know it was touched upon, on Monday we had another big, shall I say, ceremony, and we at the new building, which is known as we call it the accelerator, but traditionally, of course, is known as continuing education. But that is changing. We call it accelerator because this is what students and adults, I keep on saying adults, this is what we're seeing now. They want something quick. Many people want a second chance, as I mentioned. And so we're going to be providing from GEDs. People, I'm very surprised. The data demonstrates, and Dr. King is here somewhere, he knows that. We have over 10,000, probably even higher than that, people that don't have a full diploma in high school, GEDs, throughout the valley. And that's where we're changing that mentality. And we're so glad we're going to be addressing that later here today, just to get that pipeline started. But the best part of what we're doing with our programs is our stackable credentials. That is where students need to understand that. In other words, there's always hope for somebody, even if they don't have a GED. We provide stackable credentials at all of our campuses, meaning like in allied health and the programs that I mentioned, you can go into it, get a GED with us, either through STC or to the new programs that are going to be implemented by Dr. King and his team, to work to, as an example, CNA, that's a certified nursing assistant. And that's less than a year. Very quickly, students can be able to go from no education or hardly any to GED, CNA, and then a year later, they could get an LVN, a licensed vocational nursing, and then they can go to RN or go to BSN. We have the BSN with the Bachelor of Science and so does UTRGV. This can be done, this can be accomplished at either institutions. That's why it's very exciting that these opportunities are there now. Many don't realize that because we don't want people to lose hope. Also, the same thing with advanced manufacturing as an example. We have the same thing, GED, certificate, to an AAS degree, an associate degree. All of this can be obtained in a very short period of time. And especially what we do best at STC, we are providing internships. That is the key, especially for students of all ages, especially the adults, because we know that they don't really want to leave with their present job, but they need that advanced certificate. Also, we have apprenticeships. We have the largest apprenticeship program in all of South Texas, over 15 programs. Apprenticeships meaning that they're being paid as a student while they work, they earn while they learn. And hopefully we'll be able to address that later with one of the panels. But that is a critical key that is needed among our citizens here. They need to have that continuous input, that salary, and of course in learning opportunities. These opportunities are already there. The funding is there, the monies are there at both UTRGV and South Texas College. There is ample money, practically free money, for students to be able to matriculate into higher education. We just need to collectively, united, get that word out there that there's hope, there's opportunities there, either for those that want to go full-time or part-time through internships or apprenticeships or short-term certificates, stackables. This is what we do best. In other words, students can get some credit and then they can continue with that credit on top of other certificates and continue at STC. And they can take that associate degree, and all of those programs or credits will be accepted at UTRGV as well. That's why I wanted to make the point at the beginning of my slide that we work very well. We have this synergy that is critical. And it's not only with this institution, also with A&M. And I know I'm probably already over my 8 minutes, but very quickly, A&M is another perfect example. And they've been here for almost 8 years and struggling with the enrollment. So at STC, we were able to step in just a year ago, and we created these academies in the engineering specifically. And we basically more than doubled their enrollment in engineering, just as a perfect example, by allowing them to enroll at STC at what we call the Jaggies, and we're the Jaguars. And guess what? We more than doubled the enrollment in the engineering program because the students were basically they were able to go through us, go through the academies in engineering, get the programs, the credits through our program, and go into A&M. Pretty much guaranteed. That's what they need. Is students need that confidence. They need that self-assurance that they can be able to incorporate and enroll and hire people.
Yeah.